Hey, Bri, doesn't it suck that the boss is always over our shoulder when we're trying to talk?
Jay, he should be entertained by us. Let's get out of here and finish this conversation.
All right, as long as it's not work-related.
Jay!
B!
How's it going?
I am always good when I'm here, buddy.
I want to welcome everyone to the Work-Related Podcast.
We are related by work on Twitter, doing our best.
I see you tweeting your Lego.
Bad information on F1 and Lego.
Yeah.
It's concentrate on the Lego, people. Don't concentrate on that bad information. I should fucking...
My heart rate will go up.
Oh, that's amazing, eh? Hey, just a little bit of somebody else's money makes your heart rate go up.
Man, can you imagine if I put my money in that? I'd die.
That's probably a good thing you stay away.
Yeah.
That's so you wouldn't be able to buy those fancy TVs you have and everything else.
Exactly.
It's because I'm such... Whatever. It's surprising... I guess it's not. It's one of those weird things. Because gambling's always been in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like cards and all that. And I'm not a degenerate going to the track or not that. But it's not that much. But ever since online poker, doing that. And it's such not a part of your world.
Yeah.
Right? That now I'm bringing it into your F1 world. Like it's not like you're proof positive that you don't have to bring gambling to be a fan.
Yeah.
I like gambling because it makes it more fun. Like it's not fun to lose. So I haven't won one fucking bet with your advice.
Exactly. Like and every week I'm thinking like, why is this guy asking me?
Because you know so much.
But it's freaking stressful.
So it's not like you would brag about you knew everything about this sport.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but you like the technical thing. But now I'm asking you to put the money where your mouth, my money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
You're not the only one I could ask. Ask my stepdad, and oddly enough, I'm so fucking wrapped up in your advice. His advice has actually won me money before.
So why don't you take his?
You're right, because
or make a mesh or something.
It's up to me to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's either I go against you.
Yeah.
Fair enough for last week though. I asked you for long shots.
Yeah.
Like fair enough.
I took a couple shots I wouldn't have normally
You asked,
taken.
are you ready to take a risk?
Yeah.
And I'd rather take a risk than like take the heavy favorite and lose on that.
Yeah.
That's way more upsetting. Because it's like, it's because you think it's a for sure.
And it doesn't
right? Like
happen.
it's like I'm not like betting for Verstappen because that's almost too much of a for sure. But that's how professional gamblers win money. They put lots of money on heavy favorites. And then they just go up a little bit at a time.
Then his car blows up on the first lap.
See, I can make all my money back that I've lost in the last 2 weeks as long as one of these fucking underdogs come in one time.
Yeah.
And they're eventually going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you knew McLaren was going to have such a good weekend before the weekend started, you could have won money.
Well, the thing is, I knew that Lando was he had upgrades for the past couple of weeks, but they put upgrades on the other car that last week. So that's why both those cars were a thing. And I was gonna say to you, because I didn't bet Piastri, I bet Russell over Piastri.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Piastri, but I was like, no, his car is shit.
But it was he was such a heavy favorite. Like I wouldn't have wanted to put my money on him anyway.
After qualifying and everybody saw his car was like up there, they were like, "Oh shit!"
That's right, because we bet the qualifying first.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was going before. But I love it because it makes it more. It makes me more involved in the whole race because I don't care about the technical, like the whole other aspects of it than you do.
Yeah.
I like the show, but I tell you, like even the reason why I like McLaren is because of the show and their boss. Right, like Lando's kind of funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's all right,
Lando.
but whatever. But the up and comers, like that, they're now challenging for second,
Yeah.
or like I don't know how close they're gonna get to first.
Freaking Lando's so damn young.
They're all young. When Tammy doesn't pay any attention to these, and she sees these racers,
Yeah.
most of them, other than Lewis and
Lando
that,
Norris is like 23.
crazy.
It's like I'm like,
Well,
what?
Oscar and Logan, they're younger even.
They're younger, yeah. And it's like what the hell? Like you guys been racing this? Like you're in the pros, like you're in the. But then when you think about any other sport, you're really young at those. ages.
Like they come in fucking
Yeah,
early, right?
that's
Like
true.
basketball.
I don't know why driving seems like such a more mature thing. Maybe because you're handling death machines or something. Because
Maybe
people actually die in
it's
this
one of these,
sport.
but it's also one of these we all do. We all drive. We all don't love racing, but like driving is a thing that we all do. Like, that's, I think we can picture ourselves in that. We can compare ourselves more to that.
True.
You can compare basketball because you remember when you played, or, you know what I mean? Like hockey, you remember what when you're more into it. And like you're looking at it from that angle all the time. Once you get older, you stop doing those things. It becomes way more of a spectator.
Yeah.
Like you can never see yourself. You become one of these you become Al Bundy talking about 4 touchdowns in a fucking high school football game.
Yeah.
And you just sound ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know if I could see myself driving an F1 car though.
You love the Forza, like
I
on
do.
a way different scale. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're like if you had all the time in the world, you had a rich parents, then you whatever, like you could see yourself in that car. It's subconscious, I think. I'm adding more to it.
Yeah, but no, it is. I think it is because the driving is cool, cars are cool,
and so whatnot. You ask, how could a 22-year-old be better than me at driving?
Well, I mean,
I've been doing it all my whole life
because I think they're more stupid. It's funny because so this Gordon at work, he's the guy on my shift. You know Gordon.
Yeah,
he likes F1. And so me and him talking, Alvin walks by us all the time and goes, "Oh, you guys are talking about racing again?" And I tell Alvin, I say, "You should ride." He's like, "What's so interesting about these guys driving?" I just say, like, basically, I say, "Do you know when you're driving your car as fast as you can and you're like turning the corner and the car's like swinging and you're scared the car's going to spin out?" Now, you get an F1 car, which is that car times 1,000,000, and these guys are driving that car to the limit. I'm not that much of a daredevil. Driving around 200 kilometers on a corner till the tires are the tires are ripping off. That's how hard these guys are driving these things. I would never do that shit.
You fucking talked last week when I was talking about the accident, like all your speeding tickets, like you have it in you. You're just trying to be respectable. Like you're only deterred by being like in accidents.
By the money
yeah,
in the
like
accidents.
we thought, if it wasn't for that, then you would think that I could do this.
Good point.
Like you know that there's a time and place. You know what I mean? Like, and that's. But you also realize you should, like you said, other sports like fucking the first draft of the NBA. Like he's been playing basketball his whole life.
Yeah. Right?
Like he's been trained. He's been like this prospect.
Yeah.
When it comes to, we talked about it with soccer and stuff, like when they go overseas to play, like how you send your 14-year-old sire becomes a fucking prodigy.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? Like Barcelona, you know what I mean? Like gets their hands on him. Like he's gone. Like that's more doable. You know what I mean? Like, cause there's only one F1. It falls off. Like there's so many tiers of racing and other sports.
Yeah.
But the appeal really only lasts on that high level.
On that high level.
Right? Like
for sure.
I can't even convince you to watch NASCAR over F1. I'm not trying to tell you why you should.
Yeah.
Like, but there is different, it's a whole different league.
Yeah.
But it's almost some fucking American that's never like, no, this is our racing. That other stuff, like I've told you before, it's just a parade. You just find reasons to hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, well, I'd rather this one because there's lots more crashes. The fucking Tide and the McDonald's covers on the car, they look better. Like I understand it more.
Yeah.
Right? The other stuff is too foreign. And so they'll use that as a ignorant excuse not to get into F1.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you fall into it. But I do think it's these young drivers, just like the other sports, they've been doing the go-karts.
Yeah.
Like they don't need to be 16 to drive. We're so used to having to wait to be 16 to drive.
Yeah.
So you almost look at a 21-year-old, well, he's only been driving for 5 years. And that's obviously not the case.
No.
But it is for everybody else.
He's been driving his whole life.
But for 99% of the people in the world, we compare them to us and just like, whatever. And so
that's true.
That's why people are a joke when you see them in their souped up Hondas.
I know.
Right? But that's like, how much are they like influenced by that, or they think that they can do it? And they're who is it? Lance Stroll. Nobody likes him.
He's garbage.
But he's one of the best drivers in the world.
Funny. I just literally had this conversation. I said, this guy is literally in probably the top 3% of best drivers in the entire planet. And we call
he's garbage, right?
him garbage.
So
why does he need to be in this car? He's garbage.
We lose perspective. So that was we tried to. It would have been nice if I could have explored
it's because his dad has money.
I see. You can find reasons to hate people. It's also Verstappen's dad had money.
Yeah.
Verstappen might not have been as fucking good as he was.
Half those racers' dad had 90% of them had money.
So this is the interesting world now. Same with like basketball and baseball and hockey. Kachuk's son. Yeah. Like we're living in this era where more than ever, like the legacies are in our face.
Yep.
But that's because the opportunity is there more.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like F1's only expanding. They're jumping on this opportunity now that it's got growth and popularity in North America, and they're seizing on it. And so like the idea that there's an American racer, right? Like the rest of who cares, America? But yeah, no, actually, you know how much money that'll give all of us?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like the team's talking to each, not us, but you know what I mean? Like how much and you have to lean into it. You have to maybe make concessions or whatever it is.
Go where the growth is.
And you're a fool not to. So that means like it's hard because it takes a long time. So I think in like 15, 20 years or whatever, like there's some 4-year-old fucking that's really all of a sudden their parents are noticing, holy shit, my son can drive a go-kart like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And they get into him. And that he'll be an F1 driver because F1 will be in his whole life.
Thing, that's true.
Right?
I knew F1 was popular, but I didn't realize how popular it was until I started really getting into it and realizing you have to buy tickets like a year before.
Well, that's a whole different ballgame.
That kind of shit's crazy. Like I can buy a Raptors ticket the day before.
Yeah, but even that, like, so yeah, I mean, that's a good way to look at it.
It's just like this many people actually like the sport.
I think but it's again another example of just realizing all the bubbles that are out there.
Yeah,
like we talk about the ocean, we have no business talking about it. Like and somebody's been dedicating their whole lives.
Yeah.
If I told you how much it costs to go to a Las Vegas Raiders football game,
it's crazy.
You'd be like, who would pay that? It's on TV.
Vegas, though.
Yeah, but you'd understand it now because of this whole thing conversation we're having.
Yeah.
But somebody would just be like, a football game, really? $400 for nosebleeds? When you could go to Jacksonville for $40 for the same ticket?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you charge what they're willing to pay.
Exactly.
Right? Like you said, well, right away, you said, well, it's Vegas. What do you expect?
Yeah.
So same thing with Raptors. It's because it's
God,
Toronto.
it's Toronto. What do you expect?
The corporate influence that it's not because they don't have like quote unquote blue collar fans that like that Jacksonville would have or another slower market.
I'm sure we could get $40 floor seats in San Antonio.
Maybe not now. They got the Victor, but
oh yeah,
I was going to bring up the Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
we got a trip in October to go to Florida again, and we've never seen. Yeah, we want to go there. We won't work into going to see the Raptors play there, but like you could go see the fucking 18 fucking.
Anybody.
You can go see 10 Magic games for the cost of one Raptors game here.
Yeah,
but I bet you there are way more fans of basketball in Florida than there is here. The cost of the value has nothing to do with the fandom. It's
That's
what
true.
they can get away with paying.
That's true.
Same like hockey. It's the
only
easiest
team.
one.
We're the only team in Canada. We're the only team in Canada, so we can charge what we want.
So have you heard the rumor about Dame and Scotty?
Yeah,
I know. I'm pretty sure I know what you think. I was going to bring it up.
So have you seen the full trade rumor?
Yep.
That's
Trent Jr.
That's a bullshit. There's no way I would do that for Damian Lillard.
Oh, I'm so surprised you said that.
No way.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Scotty Barnes, Trent,
the rest are just expiring our contracts.
Yeah, Boucher. You give up those supporting cast, you don't have a team. Damian Lillard's not gonna. He couldn't do it with what's his name?
I understand what you're saying, but. Never mind what they're giving up.
We'd still have Siakam.
And you would extend Siakam.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can say what you want with him, but now you have Lillard for 4 years. It's better than renting Leonard for fucking 1. Like, it's a bigger giving up. Right? Like, Rosen for fucking Leonard, you were trying to talk him in, a reluctant star to come to Toronto. This is why I brought it up. Like, come to Toronto. And so you coaxed him in there. The point here is, like, Lillard doesn't want to come here, wants to go to Miami. But tough beans, you might not get to have it. This is a whole other we don't get sidebarred. But fuck. Just remind me. I'll get back there. But I think it speaks to more win now. Like, because as great as Scotty can be, he's never going to be as good as Lillard is.
We don't know that.
He might be. So that's the best ask. But you're going to get the best Scotty Barnes for the next 4 years.
In 4 years.
No, now.
Lillard,
and it's a better position. The Barnes' position can be more replaced. Like by OG and Pascal.
Yeah.
Not having Kyle Lowry or Freddie anymore. That's where Lillard comes in.
That's the problem. I don't think I think Barnes is going to end up being way better than OG. I really do.
That's why you have to give him up for Lillard.
That's why you have to keep him and give up OG.
I don't think they would. That's why they won't take him. Okay, so if you could get that, but that's why. So I would take that too instead. I don't think that's a possibility.
I also think Trent is a very good piece on the team, but you have to give up something. You're not going to come out scot-free, right?
I do. I like it more for the try now instead of living in this fucking no man's land for another while.
Who does he have to support him?
I don't know. I don't have the whole, but I only
would have to make a lot of moves, right?
I only brought it up because I thought you would have agreed for it because you'd have traded him for Durant last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would rather have Lillard than Durant.
Yeah, because Lillard plays defense.
So why would you not do it for Lillard and you would have done it for Durant last year?
Because Scotty Barnes plays defense, because play defense. Defense wins games.
But you would have traded him for Durant last year.
Who?
You last year when you would have traded Scotty Barnes.
Siakam.
It was
traded Siakam for Barnes.
It was last year's thing was Barnes for fucking Durant.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought your fucking line would have been. I know you wanted to get rid of Siakam.
Yeah, I think I would trade Siakam for Durant. Of
That's
course,
not what I'm taught. That's not what.
but
I asked.
Barnes for Durant. I don't think. I don't think Durant has proven he can win.
So
a
when
championship.
Freddie left,
so,
part of
yeah.
his when they asked, he goes, "Yeah, there was a big divide between the young guys and the veterans there." When he says young guys, he's talking about Scotty Barnes. It might be a bit of Precious and a bit
and
Boshu,
Trent.
and it might be Trent too. You're
Yep.
right. So I also think that if you give them the reins and let him have some growing pains, yes, he might be the blue chipper that he's prospected out to be. But in a win now situation, I think I would just rather have Lillard. I think it's along the same lines of getting Leonard. I think you do have to give something up to get something worthwhile.
I think if they wanted Lillard, they would have had to sign and trade Van Vliet. That would have made the most sense. Sign and trade him and trade some of the other pieces, not trade Scotty Barnes and put Lillard in with Scotty Barnes and Siakam. That would have been the only trade that actually makes sense. They let Van Vliet go scot-free, a max contract, which sucks, but you could.
So I don't mind. They did the same thing with Lowry. Like that's their MO. Like that's
but Lowry they had a replacement for.
Yes,
Van Vliet was his replacement.
No,
they have nobody to take those risks.
I do
They got
think
Schroeder.
I do think but that's he's a backup. I do think that's longer than I just wanted to talk about trying to talk Lillard into coming here.
You know how it goes, Jay.
But yeah, I do. Good luck with that list. The Van Vliet side of it is that it would have been nice. I think it was a 50-50 proposition. They could have maybe kept him. And so you let it play out, right? Like they went and they were buyers and not sellers in at the trade deadline last year. And that's more appealing to a Van Vliet because he's in a win now type of mode.
I get it, but like sign and trade, man. I guess then you don't have the choice
up to
of
Houston.
where you
So that's
go.
up to him.
Yeah.
He's the guy. You don't owe it to him in the sports world, this cutthroat world.
No.
But that's not their MO.
Yeah.
I think that it's silly to say that that's like you're banking goodwill that's going to benefit you later on, but it has to. By Masai not treating them like commodities like they could have been, like that's going to, like in an agent way, or you know what I mean? Like this, it's not going to make Lillard want to come here more. Oh, they treated Van Vliet like, you know what I mean, a person more. But it's up to Van Vliet. Like he was always going to take the more money that he could have.
Well, yeah, the more money that he was offered, because realistically, he can get more money in Toronto.
He's not going to win in Houston for ages.
I know, but Toronto could have offered him more money.
They could have
signed
matched
and traded. They could have matched. They could have gone beyond because he's been on this team and he's a max contract player, expiring contract. You can only sign the most with the team you're on.
If he would have done that, they only would have been able to trade him to Houston. Because they were the only ones willing to pay that much money.
Or trade for Lillard. Oh, yeah, probably.
No.
Van Vliet's not a max contract player.
But that's the problem. Houston overpaid.
Yeah.
So it's better that I'm glad the Raptors didn't overpay for him.
True.
What I've heard that they were willing to give then was good enough for me. They only said 120.
Why is that bad?
That's fine. It's great. But he said, you know what? I'm going to take 130.
Yeah, for what, $5 million more a year?
So fuck him. Go. And so you're right. They didn't have a replacement here. So that's why this trade, like it would be I'm not even saying it's the right way. I think it's a good direction. I'm willing to go both either way. If they can't get Lillard, then they have to trade Siakam.
Okay, I agree.
And you're going to get pennies for him now.
I agree with you that they should try and get Lillard on the team. I disagree. I agree with the fact. Is that disagreeing? I disagree with you
on who it should be for.
Who it should be. I think they would be giving it too much. And that those rumors were saying and first round and second round.
Yeah.
Like I know he's Damian Lillard, but he's not worth all our prospects first round and second round.
I hear you, but even last year when they could have traded Pascal and OG for 3 first rounders, they're not that either. Everything is demand. It's what's the demand.
Pascal
and Lillard's
and
demand
OG?
has come down.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's more likely he's going to stay in Portland if Toronto has that more mindset than you. It's like, no, it's not fucking Scotty, right? It's got to be OG instead of Scotty.
Yeah.
And to that, but in a win now more mentality, OG might be better version for the team. You know what I mean? Like
Scotty, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's why you do have to give something up. But what I wanted to start with is like, we're the only team in Canada, and that's not an appeal to people. That is a deterrent.
That's appeal to people who live here. They want to buy
they don't
tickets to
understand.
watch it. They want to buy tickets to watch a game. Most of them don't want to go over the border. They just rather go to Toronto. Like, I'd rather just go to Toronto. It's way quicker. It's easier. And just do that. That's what I was talking about. The appeal of the tickets For players, they don't care. The taxes are higher. They're
Their
away
kids
from
are in
their
a different
family.
school system.
Yeah,
Like, it's a lot of shit they gotta think
go
of.
through customs every time they go for an away game, right? So it's just like
Even Freddie going to Houston, no taxes.
no taxes.
Like that, just, you know what I mean? Like, we look at it and go, well, fuck, whatever, but like, just pay your taxes and complain. But it's a deterrent.
That's
it's
probably partially the reason he went.
Well, it's definitely, but it's
Yeah.
also they confuse. But I was thinking like convincing somebody it's good to be here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we watched Leonard play and just like, oh man, he could have been the king of the North for the whole time he was here.
Yeah,
But
he
you also
wanted to go
can't
home.
blame him for doing that either.
Well,
this is our home, not their home.
Well, the thing is, that's why we get a lot of European players because Canada's way more multicultural than the States. Like individual Toronto, let's speak of Toronto,
for
right?
sure.
So like all these people come and see themselves. I think we talked about it before. That's why some players like Van Vliet or Lowry, some of the American players were able to stay here when they came in because they see themselves with other people around. And then when you get European players, they can see, like, it's not, I've seen a German person freaking last week.
No, I understand
So
what you're saying.
it's like these people, especially like when it comes to like Africans and like how we had like a lot of Europeans before, like they just
well, even
see that.
Siakam from being
Siakam, yeah.
like, they have that international
And that's the appeal of
appeal of
Toronto.
that. I think that's also good for the coach too, because now we got an
Yeah.
Eastern European coach too.
Yeah.
Like, it might be weird, but you know, like, I do agree that fits the city, and on a narrative, it fits the whole thing. But yeah, most of these guys are American. Like, most of it's like we are as foreign as France is to us. Like, that's how they look at it sometimes. We know it's wrong if they just like with Lowry or if they just leaned into it, they could find the appeal, and I don't think it's that different.
Yeah.
But I've never lived in Houston, or I'm not from fucking LA, or, you know what I mean? I don't really know how different it is. And it can be, and it's just not worth it. But like, that's why I was curious. Like, I only wanted to bring it up. It's like, how much, if this Lillard, never mind who it's for, or whatever, it's like bringing another superstar here, is the reluctance is almost automatic because it's in Canada. And they're not looking at like the growth and the positives being here.
Yeah.
But you almost have to force them to, you know, show them.
But the thing is, I guess it's different from living here, but they come here every year, 2-3 times a year. It's not that odd to them. They're in Toronto, they play in the NBA.
And they know, I get it too.
Yeah.
Like, but it's,
and now that that a lot of Toronto players have been traded, which is one of the good things about them getting traded, is that they talk about their teams. They talk about which teams they've been on. They talk about how teams are fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like how we talk about our last workplaces and stuff like that. Yeah. So they start to know more and more that, you know, it's not what people think for the most part.
I think I know you're right. The narrative though, it's just all narrative. Like everything else is leaning in too much. That the narrative that is just too much of a hassle with this custom stuff. It's just not ideal. Right, but like, what is ideal?
Our house market's crazy.
But that's crazy too. And we talked about before these foreign fucking rules that they've put in place, and then they stop a fucking. Like I said, it only really benefits such a or affects such a small percentage, but it does affect. Yeah, right. Like it's I'll play in Toronto. I'll buy a condo there, but you put in place like you can't because you're not Canadian. And then it's like, well, I would have liked to have been there.
I guess I'll rent.
But it's the same thing with fucking like they try and talk Lillard. I want to go to a place to win now. And he looks at Miami and for whatever relationship. It's like, well, you show him to Toronto and say, look, you can win now with this team. But how much of it like is convincing? Like, you know what I mean? Like how much of it, and again, a narrative is like, no, I can only win in LA. I got to go play with LeBron. I got to make a super team in Phoenix. Yeah. Like that's when I talk about it with you, it's like I have no respect for that thought process.
No,
I don't, but nobody cares like about my flawed thought process when it comes to that. But I don't even know how we got to fucking that part. But my other Twitter was Lego. F1 Twitter was not banging, but I think I've been slipping. I haven't showed the last few things we built. I know you haven't shown what you built last.
Oh, the piano? No, I haven't.
That was it. I don't even know how much we talked about it. How long did it take you to build?
It took like 11 hours.
That is so
over.
Like no. That seems like under. I think my next project is going to take way more. I'm going to try to time my next project.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
See, you talk way too long before our podcast, and I fucking start sweating in this room. It gets no air conditioning. So 11 hours, and you think that's slow?
No, I think that was fast.
I thought you were saying it was over.
Oh, no, we went, I think it was like 11 and a half hours or some shit. I was saying over 11 and a half
hours. I thought you meant that was over the time you should have been allotted.
No. We don't even know. I don't know how. I assume if you do it in one sitting, it would be quicker.
How could you do it in one sitting?
You couldn't, but yeah. So it took like 11 hours. It's just a lot of gears and stuff because everything, all the keys move and shit. So there was like a lot of gears, a lot of components that you had to put together on
Like
the
Techniques
inside.
type of parts?
So the gears were Techniques part, and yeah, it was I would say it's like maybe 80% Lego, 80% the Technique Legos.
I wonder how much of it is
20%.
like, I wonder how much of it is I know how much it costs, that it's the most interesting piece you have.
Yeah.
Right? It's the best piece you have.
It's my favorite for sure.
It's got like interactive fucking components with it.
Bluetooth.
You can play the piano keys just with your fingers.
Yeah.
And yeah, you hook up your own music to it.
Yeah.
And then you can hook up sheet music that the piano plays like one of those old school Western player pianos.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The seat extends and lowers.
Oh my God, I forgot about the seat.
You can close the caps and everything. It's like, it's
so yeah, you
cool.
never shared with the people your Lego story with that.
I should put a picture up, or one of the videos Selena took. But yeah, that's my favorite piece. And our keyboard, our typewriter should come today.
So you got it?
Yeah, the typewriter, we ordered it like Monday or some shit.
You were jonesing to order in the month of July because I told you that you get extra bonus points because they don't have the free gift.
Yeah.
We were slow on the order for our last piece, or we would have got the gift too.
You got the wait, are we in July? The June gift you got.
No. So we got the latest Disney castle.
Yeah.
Like this thing is fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like we have to fucking move furniture to fucking find a place for this once we fucking build it. And we talk Disney all the time. Like the wife, we love Disney, like not just her, but but the last castle was like a retired piece. And it was something that you had to get on the black market. Yeah. And it was like upwards of $600 was the cheapest that we could find it.
Oh man, those things are crazy.
Well, some of them. The piano, like money isn't good, but the piano was way up there too.
Yeah.
Right? You don't fuck around. So we've never really got it because of how much it was. But so yeah, they come up with a new one. It's like Disney 100th anniversary. They come up with the other Disney pieces. We did a Winnie the Pooh thing. We did a Up House. That was our latest one.
Yeah.
I didn't tweet that either. But now we're getting it. So this new castle came on board, and we're like, fuck the old one for $650. This one's like $500 fucking bucks. But at least we can get it like through the website right now. And there's a free gift and all this, and it's like even bigger and maybe not better, but whatever. It's touted as bigger and better than the last castle.
There's fireworks.
It's an updated version, and so we're like, fuck the old one. Let's dive in. We deserve it, and we get it, and so. Boy, oh boy! I mean, you do more you do more 18 plus ones. Like I've done other ones, like the Up House wasn't 18 plus. Yeah, those brickheads. The only 18 plus one I've done was that foosball table.
Oh yeah,
all right, and
that's a good one.
It is a really good one.
That's retired now,
and it's still really good to look at.
Yeah,
like I like looking at the other ones. Like you always said, don't get something that you're not willing to display. Yeah. Right? Like we're running out of room to display our things. We're not very discerning customers over here. But don't beat yourself up for paying a lot of money for these things, right? Like it doesn't take anybody. The more people I hear you talk about it, the more this idea spreads. Oh, you're not the original.
I'm about to quit.
You're not the. What do you mean? Quit telling people?
No, I'm about to quit doing Lego. Then.
Oh yeah. Well, why?
It was fine when it was me and you, Jay.
It was fine when it was just you. I fucking corrupted you, and all of a sudden, it's because we talk about it.
But no, I'm happy because not to cut your story, but I like when people come and they say they're doing it because there's just so much, and you can't do all of it. But when somebody gets a piece that you thought about doing, and you're like, oh yeah, that one looks good.
I wonder how much that is.
Yeah,
you're right. There's that element can't be denied. But part of it is because even when I hear you talk about it with Daryl on your other podcast, and you've convinced some other guy to fucking do it just like you did me, and I've heard him go from, and just whatever, like he doesn't even know this. He's not saying it for this, but I've heard him go from, you know what, that is a good idea, to, man, that's a really good idea, to realizing this whole new world. Yeah. Now he's in our bubble. Yeah. Now he's in this new Lego bubble that was always existed. And there's like a bit of pride. Like, yeah, I showed him that. Yeah. Like he's so and cool. I never thought of what you said. Like, oh, I would never build the Iron Man head, but he does. He likes that. Or one of the best with Daryl is that he's always looking to improve his daughter. Yeah. Right? Doesn't want to just fuck around with this. Like now she's building shit. Yeah. And that's a good father. You know what I mean? That's good parenting, right? For sure. And so you're proud of him for that part, and you're proud of to show somebody and they like it. And it's just like he's gone from one of these people to be like ridiculing you
Yes.
to like to admiring you, to like wow, you got good class. Really, you got the typewriter? Fuck, man, that's gonna look great beside that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that. You're right. You share in that, like, because I never have to get the piano now.
Yeah.
Right.
And I never have to get the castle.
So I said I forgot how hard. That's why I brought up the techniques and the
Yeah.
piano. Like the detail is so much more involved.
Once you hit that 18.
And we always do it so high and drunk that we get overwhelmed like fast.
Yep.
This castle's big, so it's we just did the one bag, which was bag one was 3 bags.
Yeah.
This has got 3 fucking separate books for it. It's got 2 boxes inside the big box.
Mhm.
Like it's so big.
Yeah.
Like it's so intense. And yeah, we got to a couple, not that we were like stumped, but just like, it's not tedious, but like the structure is sound. It's not just one big block or whatever, right? Like it's, this goes here, like we build shit so we understand why. It's like our designers should probably do themselves some favors and build some Lego.
Right?
It's a good idea on how real things should be built.
Honestly.
So even like, so I was impressed with how the structure is done and how like detailed all these little like chassis of this castle are going to be.
Yeah.
We've been blown away by the finished product because that's all we've seen. The box, the little figures, the rooms. You've seen the piano play before you got it. And then you forget, like, oh my God, I got to connect the key to the fucking piano cord.
And you know what? That's the thing. Like, it's easy. It's better to share it with people who actually understand the appreciation of building the thing. So that's,
I get it.
The one thing I appreciate about the piano, it is my favorite piece. But when I've explained the pieces to other people, you've explained your Lego to other people, right?
I understand.
And they say, oh, yeah, you built that? They're like, yeah, you built it. Yeah, but I try to go like, yeah, you have to put all the pieces. They're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. They're not looking past the visual. That's why the piano is such a great one, because you can play it and people are like, oh, that's all Lego? And then the non-Lego person will understand, like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But then the Lego person goes, holy shit, how did all those keys move? You know how much shit you had to do? You know how much I had to make just to make a doorway? Now you're making keys, like those kind of things.
You're right.
Makes the Lego, and like that's why like the castle is cool, because when people see it, it's gonna be big and stuff, and then but you can be like, yeah, but look in this window. Like we had to put this here, like, you know what I mean? But it's lost on some people.
You're right. That's why we like you nailed it. That's why we can go and like never care about Harry Potter, go to the store and see the train,
and you're like, holy
wow.
shit! Like,
and then when you told me that, or when I realized that the that whole Lego ideas like situation, like that. So I've got into wormholes on that.
That's a big wormhole, man.
Boy, oh boy, and like we're going to the show next week. I can't wait to see what I see there.
Speaking of the show next week, I can't go.
I know you're letting us down.
Mad.
We waited so long. We thought this was going to happen for sure, but you're too busy of a guy.
Yeah. I want to. We might go on Sunday. We're trying to go Sunday, but that's another podcast day.
Not me. I would never do a podcast on Sunday. You stupid fuck. It's the Lord's Day.
It's the Lord's Day. Jesus.
I got some praying to do. Yeah,
you've been excited for it. And
we wanted to go on the Friday, but that was sold out a long time ago. I don't know why. Friday got sold out way before Saturday and Sunday did. It almost seems like a COVID-y idea. You have to pick your time slots on when you go. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's a good thing, because they just don't want the exhibits overrun or whatever.
Yeah, at least that's good.
I remember when Tammy first showed me like the fucking advertising video, just showed me these booths with like fucking battleships, and like that was my first idea before you even showed me like the fucking guy with the basement. Like, oh my God, you can just use your imagination. You don't have to build a kit.
Absolutely.
And then I remembered, I just kind of briefly touched it. I was like, oh, it used to only be your imagination. Kits were such a shortcut.
Yeah.
Like only like, what do you need a kit for? Your imagination not good enough?
Exactly.
But I can't imagine using my imagination now.
Right? It's insane.
It's crazy.
And you gone to the Lego store and you see the wall full of just loose parts, loose pieces. Like people actually go buy these pieces to build the stuff that they want to build.
So I went down the ideas rabbit hole, and I saw a bunch like I saw it's like a steel mill. You see how long they've been up, and that like a certain amount of votes to be considered for the next idea.
Yeah.
Tammy, like
you started voting?
No, I'm not. I'm not a member. She's a member. Like she has I guess I could use her sign up sheet or whatever, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not associated with them in an official way type of that. So I don't think I can vote.
Yeah.
I think we only get one. I don't know how many votes you get. Can you only vote one
You
person,
can
one
only
vote?
One person.
But she showed me like this like a Muppets thing. It was like a whole
Oh, I
Muppets
saw
theater.
it. Yes,
was
I
the
saw
thing.
it.
And it was
Yep.
like I'm blown away that somebody came up with that on their own.
So there's a YouTube channel that explores only the Lego ideas people's on their site.
Really?
Yeah.
I was upset, and I didn't go for it or further into my investigations.
Yeah.
But what I want is blueprints for all of those ideas. Like how I can't just go ahead and build that because I saw it on the site.
No, you can't.
I need the blueprints.
That person would have to make the blueprints.
And
once Lego does it, you can download the blueprints.
Yes, but it's once they do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And that's one thing I've noticed because I've seen some things that were before and after, and obviously Lego has the money. So it comes out way better when Lego actually does it. It comes out like 10 times.
Well, of course, because
it's like double. They get it printed. They get like sometimes they might use custom pieces and stuff, and they can't, obviously the people building it can't get it. But, you know.
So do they get anything? So the guy who made the foosball table.
So I haven't discovered that yet.
I
don't know if they do. I don't know. I imagine you would have to pay them something.
I bet you signed it away.
That would be nice, but I guess people like that is like, oh my God, my design was done by Lego?
I think they fucking rest on the laurels of, well, you just get the recognition.
Yeah. And I think Lego does a good job because they keep it as true to the original as they possibly can by improving. They don't overhaul the whole thing, which is cool.
So it's funny is I'm picturing now like us watching Daryl and other people like get into the Lego thing, and you're just like, yeah, I was there before. Oh, and I appreciate you being into it. And then these people that can make these ideas, like they're such a step above us.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? Like obviously a huge
bro.
step. And so the levels of the involvement, and so somebody listening to us just come to this realization is like a joke to them.
Yeah.
It's a joke to us. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can look at everything so different. So
us completing an 18 plus Lego is like, they're laughing at us.
Well, yeah.
11 hours. I could do that in 2.
Yeah. See, I part of me wanted to time this one. I've always joked or talked about not caring about the time, and I still don't because I didn't really officially time this one.
Yeah.
But I could have. This is what comes back to the tweet because I was like, when we finished, so I'm back and forth on that. So I tweeted, there's a timestamp of when we started. And so we started the one bag, we haven't done it, and halfway through the bag, we were like, wow, this isn't like this isn't like building the up house. That's like a 10 plus. Like there's a little bit more involvement here. But wow, cool. And just realizing it and just appreciating it, but just like being involved. And because we're buzzed, we said like your head is down doing it, and all of a sudden you lift your head and you realize like, whoa, like I made that wrong. I don't know how many mistakes you make usually when you're doing them.
Not that many.
Right. But yeah. So we make a mistake every now and then, and it's like, I gotta go back and change it. And then it's not frustration. It's just like, you know what, I should stop. Like I'm not being very productive here.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and so but I forgot to time it on when we stopped. So I'm gonna have to guess. But we've only did it once. We did one session.
Okay.
And
what's your guess?
Yeah, my guess would be an hour. I'll give us tops an hour and a half. The least was an hour. Okay, so bag one, there's fucking 45 fucking bags. Yeah. So this is going to take 45 fucking hours. Yeah. What was I going to say? So it was a wake up call to realize that, you're going to the 18 plus. It's one of these things. It's not like I'm doing this. It's like you can fool yourself. You can be looking at Lego on Twitter all day long and think you know what you're talking about. Like say fucking, like imagine that. Like I haven't done anything, watching other people build their castles or comparing other people building like something that I did and just go in a Twitter worm, like fucking rabbit hole and just like, whatever, like this isn't me, but this could happen to other things. Just like criticizing things, just on my opinion, without diving into it. Yeah. Right. And then I start my own 18 plus and go, holy shit, I should never have said that about at Joe Blow, like 69. You know what I mean? Almost like I need to do apology. Yeah. Like I've done it at work where I've like fucking, I made a mistake on it fucking this rack. It was like a ½ inch off. But in my drawings, it's like I never saw it. But at the beginning of the book, when I was building the same one and I was just flipping through something, I saw the measurement that I was looking for. And I was, my critics was like, well, you should have put that measurement where I was like in the part of the book where I was looking. But their criticism can be like, well, it was here. Like you just really had to look. And I'm like, well, you're making it too hard for me to look. And so I can also like accept my fault in that thing. I can say, yeah, your drawings suck all the time, but they can also look and say, well, it's the information is there if you were better at looking at it. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I find myself in that position a bunch of times. Like, how much do I criticize these clowns? Just said it now, clowns. And where I'm just like, I don't really put myself in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really appreciate how hard it is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I criticize on, we just get new guys. We don't get no NASA fucking people are coming to work for us. We're getting all up and comers.
Yeah.
How hard is it for an up and comer to come into our fucked up system?
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Like, I never give that, like that.
That is true.
And it's only when I find myself in that position, just go, you know what? That guy did make a good drawing. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, in my mistake, I wish he put it there, you know, whatever. I'm just looking for criticism to explain away my mistake.
Which is why I always try to defend my wife's job.
Oh, you didn't even put that on there. How are you talking about fucking insurance? So I wasn't attacking Selena or people like her.
I know.
When I attacked the insurance industry as a fucking scam, or it's a win-win situation for them all the time.
Yeah.
But they're the perfect example to get thrown in with banks and the government.
Yeah.
Like, they just, like, there's no recourse on them making the mistake. Like, Selena takes it personally. Not really, but like, really. She could, like, she's in a position to take it. Like,
but she's
you're defending
in that position. But it's hard for me to say because I've never really had a bad experience with insurance. And anytime people complain about insurance, and everybody does, it's freaking insurance, I never understand it because I've never had like a bad experience. And then oddly enough, I end up marrying a girl who literally does the job that everybody complains about. And I get to see it from the back end because especially when the kids aren't here, I spend the whole day up here with her, handling everybody, talking to everybody. She talks about some stuff. She can't talk about everything. But so, and I realize like there's not these evil people sitting behind the phone trying everything to screw you over. They're just doing their job. And some people are stupid. Some people are bad at their job, just like our jobs. Some people are really bad at making hitches and some people can do it no problem. No problem. And it's A-okay.
Oh my God. Of course there's people that can't build hitches good, but we could mock at them like in a personal way, like, oh, somebody else that was new, like figured that out right away. And we can't understand the lack of common sense when it comes to putting three pieces together. Like, and so, but that's so internal, right? Like and you're like, whatever, like I'm not trying to defend that position, but it's just not giving it that extra thought. The insurance comes in because it's such a big conglomerate. We never see it fail. We only get to like bring it to like people not getting their Katrina house. Like, it's so grand that we come to it, but it's such an everyday thing. Like, Selena sees it and compares it like in just what my experience with fucking Crashing Elmo and this last 2 weeks that I've had. Selena sees such obvious things, right? Sees like common mistakes, common misinterpretations by the customer, and not like she's defending them over us, but if it's me complaining about the insurance industry to you, and then her explaining to me why it's like that, she's trying to talk me off of the ledge of it's always, you know what I mean? Like the insurance is the devil in this situation, and that's me being just overreacting, right? And me just not understanding like the processes.
Well, that's the problem, and I think that's why a lot of people we often have how do you put it? A negative feeling towards things that we just don't understand fully.
Yeah,
right.
That's almost automatic.
Yeah, so like when people talk to the, especially when the notion is that they're trying to screw you over, a lot of people are automatically going in like on a phone call with her, thinking that they're just trying to screw her over. They're not trying to do. When in reality, she'll like talk to somebody and then she'll feel bad for the person. The person's nice and whatever and treating them with respect, and then she'll feel bad and the story seems believable. And then maybe her boss will say, I've seen this happen several times. Maybe her boss will say like, no, we can't really, and then she'll like go to bat for them. She'll be like, no, we should, no, but what about this? And like, she actually tries to get the people what they deserve. Now, when you start screwing around, that's a different story, right? But when and like people often do the, like, you know, you can't get a hold of your insurance person. Sure. Well, I mean, she's freaking busy. Like, she's literally busy. People think like that's the only person they're talking to. So it's all these like
expectations of the customer.
Yeah, that aren't realistic, that people just don't understand. And then the undertones of that, they're just trying to screw you over. They're not trying to help you. They're just trying to screw you. Well, Selena doesn't matter what Selena does. She doesn't get paid more or less whether she screws you over or not.
It's the fraud aspect of it. It's the custom. It's because the public has been allowed to manipulate the system as best they can.
Yeah.
It's like it's whatever evil in us that not you and me, but we're part of the public. You know what I mean? Like we're always trying to get a leg up. Even if you try to justify it, well, they're just out to screw me. So fuck, I'm not robbing anybody personally if I make fraud in my insurance.
Yeah.
Right? Like some people make a living out of it.
Yeah.
And so we're all treated as the lowest common denominator. And when most of us aren't that, and like it's the bad apples that are making this whole system run this way, like it's not the person on the phone that's that problem. We were mad at the system. It's just like, and also I can't imagine the stupid customers that she gets, like that don't really understand their policies.
Yeah.
And are just like, well, you should have had a bigger deductible or shouldn't have had such a big deductible or whatever it is.
Or if it's your fault, you have to pay your deductible. No, but I'm in an accident. No, but it's your fault.
And like, I'm not even trying to make this, but when it comes to a foreign aspect of it too, when you're realizing like this person, you know what I mean? Like it's just, they're not, how much are they not understanding because of the language? Right? Like I'm not like they could understand English all they want, but it seems that they're not understanding what you're saying. And that would come so frustrated, like be frustrated. It doesn't have to be a foreign thing either.
Yeah, I know, but like people just don't understand, period, because they already have things in the back of their head. Like you can't tell someone who already hates LeBron why LeBron is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. You can't tell them anything.
No, but it's not big. The Selena has to do her job almost always because of fraud. Like you said, like it's just believable.
She doesn't. It's more so, oh, I tell you something, I believe you, and that's how you go. I tell you something and it sounds sketchy, then that's red flag. They have like red flags. So if you hit these red flags, then now it's fraud.
And they're gonna know the red flags way more than you and I are gonna know, or like the customer's gonna know the red flags.
For sure.
And if you just accidentally hit one of those red flags and you get caught up in that system and you have nothing to do with it,
though.
I get it. But you or me, I have the the frustration that I'm going to have to do more fucking running around because so many other people have made a fraud claim, and that the only person to fucking get that frustration is who you're talking, the Selena of the day.
But I get that, and that's true-ish. But it doesn't really seem like any of them really go about it. If people go in automatically on the defensive, and that's just sketchy. Like anytime I've dealt with insurance, I just tell them what it is, and they tell me what it is, and I go about my day.
Well, you fucking got me going with this insurance thing because I thought we were doing everything by the book. Like we've tried, and then like just innocently enough because it's a red flag thing, and just like you might want to think about this because you have a rental car because you think your car is undrivable, but their definition of undrivable might be different than your definition of undrivable.
And so I was talking to her about
this
you don't
need to be so specific.
I was talking to her about this situation earlier, and like at that point, it really comes down to the person you're dealing with. Like she says, if the person thinks that they'll get a ticket for it, then she'll tell them not to drive it. Don't drive it. It should never be at your house then.
Yeah.
You should send it straight to them, let the body shop deal with them, but some people might just be like, oh, well, whatever.
So I would have assumed that as well in my limited dealing with insurance and all that. But when it came to this one, because it's a brave new world and like car parts are harder to find than like I realized they could be and whatever it is. And it's almost, again, seems COVID-y. And technology like helps us do things better. No, you can just take pictures and send them to this number that's the body shop.
Yeah.
And so all of our information is from the Selena for us, like the insurance on the other end. We get into who that might be later, but that's not us. That's the insurance letting the person answer the phone. And so, okay, we'll just put that up. It happened on the weekend. So Selena's in the business. That's going to go to a call center. it's a lesser than her.
Yeah.
It's not a real agent.
No.
It's going to be like an intern or call center, whatever that is. It's a lesser than that's just picking up the 1-800 phone call.
Which makes it convoluted because some companies have that throughout the week. Some have it only on. It's just so crazy.
But so in my mind, it's an extra convoluted thing for no reason at all. Like me as the customer, I'm in your hands. Like I'm not going with all that, but I have no other choice but to believe everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, what do I do next?
Exactly.
Right?
You're the person in the know. Tell me what I need to
so
do.
then we do what they say. And so everything seems fine. I had to do my own running around, like going to the report center. They didn't tell us that. I add that to them.
Yeah.
But I just think it's part of this process. They tell us which rental car to go to. They tell us how many pictures to take and where to send them to. And then everything on their end is say, okay, we'll get back to you.
It's funny because you went to the reporting center. They should have told you if your car was drivable or not.
Well, they put a sticker on it like that it has been looked at police.
So they didn't tell you if it was drivable or not.
They didn't say
drivable?
get it towed out of here. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Like, you see what I mean? Like that's all.
Well,
that,
I also
it's
get
so
that,
fucked up.
but I realized the same thing. Drivable and safe is one thing. If you have an indicator light that's knocked out of your car and you went to go for a safety check, you would
fail.
It would fail.
Yeah.
So our accident's knocked out our right indicator light. Doesn't that automatically make it undrivable?
Right?
Like it's a definition that's vague.
Yeah.
And so you're right. I see you doing that, but they never mentioned that at all to us. That's not their business.
Now, in hindsight, if I wasn't married to an insurance adjuster, if I got in an accident, I'd be like, okay, but what's drivable? And then they would tell me. But we don't have those options to think about these questions beforehand.
And then there's an assumption, I think, when you, again, pre-angry, nobody's told me that, you should have known that. You expect them to say that to you.
Yeah,
You expect them to get to rest on the fine print.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that was in your contract.
Bro, that's your everyday life. Don't expect me to. I don't read my policy every day.
But you're just dealing with one of a million Selenas that are doing it. So you don't feel personally, they're not as invested.
Mm.
Their whole deal is to be serviced. And at her best, like 99% of the time, she is like that. She's going to bat for people that her boss thinks might be frauding. It's like, no, I believe this person, or you know what, this person like is a little bit confused, but they're not disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know, she's sympathetic to people. She deals with you all the time. She's fucking got patience.
Yeah.
And so she's willing to do that. But I know for a fact, the second if she's like 90% sure this is a fraud or this is that or they're disrespectful, she has no time for them. She's not going to bat for them at all.
Mm-hmm.
She'll let them go through that fucking system and then not think of them anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what they deserve. But for me, because insurance is something you just pay and pay and pay, and you're expected to be, even the fact it goes up after you have an accident seems fucking bullshit
Messed
to me.
up, yeah.
And so she'll take the brunt of that. But I mean, that's where, again, we've talked about it in past episodes. It's just your expectations of what should happen are fucking you up.
Yeah.
They're messing your head up. They're messing with what the reality of the situation. But if you weren't married to her, like you said, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
It's like we don't know like how many people can't put those three pieces together for the hitch, or the fucking other. We got to stop talking about these people. The other personalities how they affect us in our workplace.
Yeah.
And how whatever like we either say fuck them or deal with them or we deal with them in our ways. And I got to get out of the business of talking about Tammy's opinions on things, or you know what I mean, on putting words in other people's mouths. But there was a situation that she dealt with at work because she works at an animal clinic and she deals with all kinds of fucked up people. Animal people are fucked.
People who don't understand the system, right?
And massive, they think everything's marked up.
Right?
Right? Like, yeah,
You
no, she
see?
deals with it
It's
all
crazy.
the time.
It's
and
crazy.
she's dealing with them not on a phone. Like sometimes
And
on a phone,
face-to-face.
face to face with their precious little princess dog.
Absolutely.
And all that. And don't you just want to help my dog? Like how you like, I can't pay for it, but we can't do it for free. Like, there's insurance involved in pets. You know what I mean? There's lots of ways, but it's not mandated.
Yeah.
So people come in and they got to pay $1,000 and they can't understand why taking a splinter out of Fluffy's foot costs so much money. It's just like, yeah, well, whatever it is. And so the situation came, and sorry, babe, I'll try to get it right. And we don't know, we don't know who this person is, so they're not going to come back, but who knows? They have a dog and they want to take it on a trip, and they're going to Germany or something. So they call the clinic. What do I need to legally take my dog to Germany? And Tammy's like, well, you should call the German consulate or the Canadian consulate or whatever it is. I only know what it takes to get to America. Like, you might need this, you might need that. And then the person is upset. No, you should know. And says like, well, if you're asking me, I'm telling you, this is who you should call.
Yeah.
So whatever, days go by and this person comes and gets whatever form, right? Like something filled out for this dog to go to Germany, and it's just like everybody else, they didn't do this 4 months in advance. They did it 2 weeks in
Last
advance.
minute,
right?
last
Like your eyes
minute.
automatically roll, but something like this happens. So they come in with this form and their fucking precious dog, and they go, okay, so what's the next step? And so Tammy's going even out of her way to like look at this form and say, okay, so yeah, you got this. She goes, oh, this, yeah, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get this. And she's like, well, you told me all I have to do is do this and get this form. So no. I told you. And she's furious at Tammy. She's blaming Tammy for not explaining, you know what I mean? And Tammy's in a no-win situation here. She tried to do her best, but now she's physically, and she can't just tell this person to fuck off. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, I have sympathy for it all the kinds, but like, that's why I would never be that or want to put myself in that. Because all I want to do is just tell them to fuck off and show them how they've made this fault wrong. But they walk out of there thinking, oh, this animal clinic's always just out to get me. You know what I mean? In a way like that. But
Yeah.
so you would never have known that or I would never have known that if I didn't marry this person.
Yeah.
And so you just, you know, like, that's fucked up, babe.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, you just hope it's not happening all the time. But she, you know what I mean, has other examples about that.
For sure.
But like, it's again, this customer's expectations. I don't know. Like, again, you can find all the faults, but it was all they're doing. The whole downfall was their own. Yeah, I don't know why else you would want to bring up fucking insurance and see like that. But hopefully we still haven't got him fixed yet.
No.
You scared me. So they didn't think the car was. They're keeping the car.
Yep.
They didn't ask me how I got it there. I obviously drove it there. But, you know I don't have insurance on it because it's on our rental car.
Yeah.
So I was driving the best I could. And the bumper's real close to the tire. The guy came out. I tried to explain to him. I didn't want him to, hey, man, like, do me a solid. Can you just, like, define this as not... Like, I don't know if I'm in a bad... You got me all paranoid that I'm in a bad spot here. And now we're all pre-mad about having to deal with the insurance. But I have faith that it's all going to work itself out.
Yeah, it should.
And I know that when I say to them, we had X conversation and they said X to us, they don't know if that's true or not.
No.
At the beginning of these things is official. It's like they tell you your phone is being recorded. And so from just your example, whenever there's a dispute now becomes a dispute between me and the agent about this rental car and all that. And part of me saying like, why are you trying so hard? It's not like you're paying it out of your pocket. But they're looking for red flags. They don't want to, whatever. Like they don't like us.
Get fired.
They don't want to get fired for that happening. I guess that's true. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, they do have responsibility for their jobs.
I guess that's true. So whatever it is. So if we've said all the red flag words, there is still another process.
Yeah.
Right. Like it is such a big company that she isn't the final word.
No.
Like if we make such a think about it or we want to defend our righteous spot, then there'll be some kind of auditing process, and then they'll go back and listen to the conversation. Yeah. I want her to just be able to fucking access that conversation right now. You know what I mean? Like I say to her, no, they told us to get a rental car right away. No, they told us not to take the car to the body shop. And she says to us, oh no, you should have done that. Oh no, you shouldn't have your car and a rental car. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, your car is deemed drivable in this situation. We were told it's not drivable. Mm-hmm. She probably thinks that's a lie and I'm like, you have to go listen to the conversation. That would only happen in some kind of auditing process. And I have faith that would end up happening because I know we're not fucking them around.
Yeah. So
I shouldn't let the anger build up like I usually let it do.
Yeah, exactly. And like generally from what I've heard from my experience sitting in the office, from what I've heard is like, it's really more cut and dry unless it's like an actual disagreement. It's like, oh, did you tell them that? Well, yeah, the call center put in the notes that they said they got them a rental. Oh, well, you have to do it. It's really usually just that simple.
It's me going off the handle before I need to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are smart people behind them. Sometimes there's smart people there.
Well, it's the narrative. It's the narrative that you always see on Twitter and all that. Exactly. And that's where we can see where it's ridiculous.
The narrative ruins everything.
This was a different story, a bit of a pivot, but not. I'll try to tie it in the same way. So I don't know how. This is where be careful what you say, like when you're talking, like make sure you're speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to fuck yourself over, you'll get fucked over. But you heard the story about some kind of fucking like emojis being contract binding.
Yes.
Like I don't know. It's a whole different thing, but it's almost
emoji and stuff.
Like it was like something was sent about like renewing a contract or something, and So somebody gave a thumbs up emoji.
Oddly enough.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's like, no, I was telling him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't you know what that means? And however it was all like misinterpretation. And I mean, part of me is like, how does an emoji become an official agreement?
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. Like, am I explaining the whole situation right? Like,
I think I agree. How does it become? You know why? Because I feel like emojis has become their own language. You can have a conversation basically through emojis, right?
That's why you're right. I think it is. I think it's like it'd be ridiculous to think of however many years ago.
Yeah.
Right. But like everything, just like this is where my confusion is like, yeah, technology, you just want me to send these pictures through a text to the body shop.
Yeah.
And then through that, they've seen enough, they can understand the damage or if it's drivable and all these other things. And so it's like, wow, that's weird. Okay. I guess that's contract binding. But emojis seem so trivial. Yeah. And I think what this was this like a renewal of a contract or some kind of contract. And so the company was saying, yeah, you want to do this, right? Like, should I, but I think there was more involved, but it's like, yeah, should I send you the contract? And then thumbs up was almost like a signature. I think the person giving the thumbs up was just like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Let's explore it.
Because if we can have a verbal contract that's not recorded, then you must be able to have a text contract with a universal okay, yes, good, like a positive response.
Positive.
Compared to a negative response should say yes.
Yeah, I mean, but without where like, cause signing something usually is the end of the fucking,
verbal contracts.
Well, this is where it is. Like, I guess so, but verbal contracts don't work like with buying a house, right? Like you have to sign the fucking.
It can.
I mean, I've never been involved. It's only theoretical. I guess it can. I guess there's examples of it happening.
No, there gotta be. But like, if we were recording this conversation, we are. If we were recording this conversation and I said, Jay, you want to buy my house for this much? And it was a serious conversation. You said, yes, I will buy your house. And you didn't buy the house and I took you to court and played this recording, I'm pretty sure I would win.
And you don't think my example of, can you listen to the 87 episodes before that? And you can just see how we're fucked over and we're just always joking.
Sure. And then you would definitely win after that.
Because everything was so ridiculous.
Exactly.
But if we knew what we were talking about and everything had binding.
So if me and you had this conversation and then I texted you, Jay, do you want to buy this house? And you did a thumbs up. And then we went to court and then you went back and you said, no, thumbs up means fuck off.
Yeah, but it depends on how good your lawyer was. The combination of the thumbs up and the conversation might be enough.
That's true.
So I think it's weird to me because I don't use emojis, but I get what you're saying.
Well,
and
that was going to be my next question. Have you increased your emoji
Yes, of course
use?
I have. You know I have.
Yes.
I do it sometimes.
So when you get in a situation that you need to use an emoji, right?
Yeah.
Your phone, you have recent emojis that you've used mostly or whatever, right? Do you usually go to those, right?
So usually the emoji example will come up for whatever I'm saying.
Yeah.
I actually deep dived for a specific emoji recently.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. How much thought do you put into picking your emojis? That was where I was going.
I'm a basic bitch. I'm a thumbs up guy.
Yeah.
I gave you a cheers mug for something that could have been a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But it was just trying to be a little bit different. The deep dive I did, I wanted to, so the Disney character Forky, it was something that it made me think of Forky that Tammy sent me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to send a fork.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't send a fork. I could only send a knife and fork. Right. Like I was like, so instead of going through my menu of fucking emojis, so I was like, I scrolled the menu for looking for something, trying to be original. Oddly enough, they're all the same, and I was like, fuck. So I had to type fork. And it came up with whatever examples of fork.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't send just a fork. I was like, God damn.
That's annoying.
What kind of world do we live in that I can't just send a fork? And so it gave me a knife and fork. And the example was, she got it.
She got it.
And so, but I can't even but that's such a specific conversation.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I've gone.
That's what I'm trying to say. So when I do my emojis, I do actually put effort into like, am I picking the sideways laughing or am I picking the straight laughing? Like how funny
What's the difference?
This? One is more funny than the other, okay? There's levels of funny. If it's not that funny, I'm gonna put a smiley. You know what I mean? so I do pick the levels of emojis, right? So
sideways laughing and crying at the same time, is that the best ever?
That is I'm laughing out loud. If I do that, I'm laughing out loud.
I put LOL all the time.
LOL, but LOL is I'm laughing or I'm not laughing. You don't know. It's
Okay, so in our last conversations when whatever it was, there was a couple of LOLs.
Yeah.
There was no sideways. I guess you didn't think I was that funny because I didn't see any sideways fucking crying, laughing. And I had to, because I told you what I said something, go, oh, that's fucking hilarious. You told her about the insurance thing?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, it was the funniest thing I've said all day, LOL. But even before that, I said LOL, she's mad. And you told me she'd be mad if I said that.
Yeah.
But I didn't want you to think it was serious, so I put LOL at the beginning.
Exactly.
I'm out of the fucking age group or whatever generation that uses emojis like that. I think it's dry. It will come off to me like what?
We're getting you there.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't do it because I'm trying too hard. Like I'm like, oh, really? That's what that means? I get it. You know what I mean? I can see that, but so my emoji game is very grandfathery.
Okay. Use emojis like you use LOL. For the same way. You want to that LOL is like a great thing because it made you be able to say certain things then in a less serious way. And so you do the same thing you get to get a what are those things called? LOL, LMAO.
Oh yeah. They're like
acronyms. Acronyms. Like that's basically emojis, and you can get the same emotion across by using that. So can you just do that?
I still like a colon and a fucking bracket for fucking happy face.
We're not doing that.
I'm 20 years. I can't. I'm trying too hard.
We're not doing that.
Oh, I'm doing nothing but that.
We're not doing that. But your LOL game is perfect because I can read the whole thing and automatically understand how serious you're being. Did he put it at the end or did he put it before? If he put it at the end, it's not that serious. If he put it before, he probably thinks it's funny, and so he's gonna tell me something funny. Oh yeah, that is funny.
I had to edit my last one, and I went back to put LOL at the beginning.
You see?
Yeah.
So use emojis the same way. That's exactly how it's supposed to be.
How sad is it that your LOL game is on point is fucking something that has to be said to me. When I'm texting with Tammy, and I text XO, not just the fucking kissy smiley face. Like a 20-year younger version of me would never have done XO.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because I signed letters with XOXO. Nobody signs letters anymore.
I don't even know what that is.
That's right. You don't know how to write. You're fucking ignorant. The fucking. So I feel like I'm being a fucking a fraud. I'm a poser. Like, because I have to try too hard to do the emoji game, right? Like even the LOL game is fucking gay, but like it almost like whatever. I don't. But that world has come, and it's in the middle of it right now. Like, don't fight the emojis.
This is the time to jump in.
Well, now that's what it's so much serious that I realize it's contract binding.
Yes,
I better start taking it seriously.
So that's probably why it's contract binding, because I take it seriously when I pick my emoji. So I guess the government's taking it serious too when people pick their emojis.
I think it's insurance again trying to cover their back.
Probably.
It's like, no, you fucking put a thumbs up.
Yep. Sorry, sir.
Oh my God, we're in big fucking trouble.
So yeah, I'm gonna use less thumbs up.
That's hilarious. What else was I gonna fucking say? Well, I mean, it's part of, I guess, how I learn through that, because I can only have conversations with people like you, and you tell me how to use emojis and whatever. We text back and forth. So that's my example. That's where I go. That's where I learned to build a hitch, because you're showing me how to put these three pieces together.
3 pieces,
right? And I'm fucking doing that. But when it comes to like being on Twitter and something like and anything else like that, like you're inundated by the narrative of the day, the public, right? Like I only know what these things are because it's used so much in other like things, right? Like the crying, laughing, the crying, laughing face sideways is the most recent example. Is LeBron did something about that. And that's how I know, that must be the most funniest. Yeah. And he said something with like 4 or 5 of them in a row. Yeah. And that's, the real world coming into my example. And so it's like, I can't help but notice that. Right. So that's how, if you fucking don't go on Twitter, I'm not saying you have to do any of these things, but the older you get, if you don't force yourself in a way to communicate on these channels, like it's almost like you get left behind. Yeah. It's not it's the guy's fault for giving the thumbs up and thinking that was just a casual thing, to not realizing it could be potentially, like contract binding. Because we've been using them forever, like you just said.
Yeah, ignorance is no excuse for the law, right?
But ignorance is bliss. Like the more you know, the more you start to hate everything going on.
It can wind you in jail. or
I hear
paying a
you.
contract
It's not a. You're right. Ignorance isn't a reason, like
to break the law.
And so,
Quotes.
I get it, but this is where like how these like examples. I'm not trying to force this into like Twitter and other things like Facebook. Drive. How much of it is the people using it driving the narrative, like making these things become contract binding because we've all been doing it. It's not Twitter's fault that this has become binding. It's our fault.
Yeah,
because we use emojis so much.
We used it. Yeah.
But if you're not on Twitter or using this social network and you're just an old school guy working at a body shop, or you're the best hitch builder, like, and you just like, fuck the technology, I don't need it. And just like, hey, you're out of the loop. You should have realized, you know what I mean? Like, and so, I mean, it's fair, or is it fair or not fair? Like, is it?
I think it's fair.
It's on the person, like the old school person should have kept up with our new communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fair to leave the people behind who is holding the behind. So there's this. So this is gonna get somewhat techie. So it's about basically about Apple, for example. Apple and Windows. Windows never leaves anybody behind. So you can go through a Windows computer. You could buy an old computer from 20 years ago and still run Windows, right? You can't do that with an Apple computer. They're notorious for leaving people behind. But what that allows them to do is to leave the dead weight behind and be able to advance more on certain things, because you don't have to worry about carrying over certain technologies that people still use, legacy technologies that people still use. So, for example, how Apple has gone through this M1 MacBook, very thin, high usage type of stuff is because they left everything before 3 years ago will never get an Apple update, will never be able to be used, and even apps won't be able to be used. So you guys are gone. Everybody before is gone, but it allows you to go forward. And so if the person, some of the people who's not using it and not understanding emojis and the fact that, oh, this is a law, this is contract binding, I should be able, you're not up to the times and knowledgeable of what's going on, you're getting left behind. And that's kind of worth it because we're going forward.
So that example makes me think of how almost everything is. Like, it's keep up or get left behind.
Yeah.
And whatever that mentality is. And almost everything is worth it. Where you have the choice between Apple and Microsoft or whatever that is up to you. And you're talking about like hardware and like the experience that creates. Where I'm talking about more is the power that these websites have because of the communication aspect, right? Like, you're talking about the tools we use, but the communication is the thing that stays the same.
Communication's a tool.
It is a tool,
that
but
changes.
How we communicate is what's changed. Like long distance phone calls, you used to only talk for a minute, and now it's a joke. Yeah. And now the world is smaller because of it. Yeah. And then Facebook and Twitter come around, and it's just like, oh, look at this community it can make. Look at everybody's on this one website, and it's the good and bad of that.
But that separation isn't the fact that long distance calls and communication. That separation was people afraid to use the internet for making the world small. Internet made made communication smaller, made the world smaller. There were people before who was like, no internet. I still need my dial up. I still need my rotary phone. And those people, you're saying, okay, that's the people who left behind.
That seems so obvious to me, though. That's the same guy that goes commercials that watch the guy making the wheel. They go, look at that guy. What do they fucking think he's crazy? Exactly. He could kill himself on that thing.
Because you grew up in it, though.
Yeah.
You couldn't imagine somebody not using the internet, right? But when cars came around, why would you choose that path instead of this path? When cars came around, people were like, no, I want my horse and buggy. When racism was getting abolished, people were like, why would we do that? You know what I mean? It's always the forward push that people are just like, no.
And so that's where that example gets fucking exploited or bastardized, is when they try to attach themselves to some of those righteous ideas.
Yep.
Right? Like
they'll always do it.
Like Black Lives Matter, and then all of a sudden all lives matter. It's just like, no, wait a second. Like, can we just finish this one conversation?
Yeah.
And not that you ever could, but I'm just saying, like, racism is such a grander thing. The communication is like, yeah, like if you don't keep up, like this is the language of the day. Like, it does come in racism and stuff. It's like, yeah, we've had enough of those words. Like, you might get an example of like, I was just joking around with these words, or making fun of somebody at work and just like say, it's like, you don't realize how that comes across as racist to this brand new kid.
And so in that situation, that person would be axed because you didn't keep up with the times.
And there's no defense.
Yeah.
But the old schoolness in us, just like, yeah, I also realize he's joking. You got what you're given, you know, you give what you deserve. It's not, but part of it is like, you can see why he's resting too much on those laurels of that old school mentality. Right. And then the first conversation we have, we love how old school our work used to be.
Yeah.
And so, but we also, like, in the process of change, I can't tell you to get mad at email pronouns if that's the word of the day. This is figure out a way to live with it.
Absolutely.
And I can't get mad at figuring out new welders. I can't get mad at shadowing people. We're both dealing with the same example
for sure.
in different examples.
For sure. Absolutely.
And so, but this is what, like, we have no choice if we want to live in society. I can take another job where I'm just, you know what I mean? I don't know what I could do if I don't want to do that anymore. You could take another job if you don't want these emails. Like, it doesn't bother me, right? Or affect me in the same ways it affects you. You want to move up in a way, so you have to be more socially involved. You have to be more human resources involved. I just have to make sure I toe the line of human resources.
Yep.
In this example where somebody says something that could be perceived as racist, they really, you know what I mean? We see both sides of it. And we are picking the side we want to pick on because that's the side we believe in. It's not that we think we also understand, we also want to be able to joke around, but like, we also learn, like, no, you know what I mean? Like, don't give the thumbs up. Don't say that if you don't know what it means.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you can give me a thumbs up.
Or you don't know who you're talking to.
Or you don't know, and don't assume that everybody thinks the way you think.
Oh yeah.
Right? And in this world, this is the same example that me as a fucking white English guy, your example isn't the example.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's where it comes. You can't just assume we can all pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. You can't assume that everybody wasn't born on second base. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people, you know what I mean? Like, are never get to first.
Yep.
And like, just by everything is this might have been easier. I might be able to come up with examples of why it wasn't, but that's just personal to me, right? Like, it's not worth it to try to compare that to a lower social example than I have.
It's funny. My Monday motivational quote for this week actually is about this whole thing.
That was a big topic. What do you mean?
It's about it's basically outside the box, inside the box. If I'm just making it quick, I don't want to say the whole quote because I can't say it word verbatim. Right. So, but it's basically outside the box, inside the box. A lot of people and embracing the new. I basically wrote
that's
that
what we're
there.
talking about for sure.
So a lot of people like to stay in their box. They like to think, and that's all fine. Like, I'm for people. If you want to stay in your box, stay in your box. But there's no way you can make all the. This is gonna be. It's you can or you can't. But whatever. We'll just go with what I'm saying. You cannot make all the right decisions by staying in only your box and knowing only what you know. You have to be outside the box to get enough information to make proper decisions. Or like my buddy Kevin, when he says beer is trash. Well, you don't know about beer. You're in your box where beer is not even in your box. How do you know what beer is trash and what beer is not trash?
He has to say, I don't like the beer that I've ever had.
Exactly. So the issue is when people take their experiences inside the box and pressure everybody else who may be in a different box or maybe know more about that other box. People need to, I just feel like people need to really, if you're not going to expand yourself and get the proper information, you can't really make the proper decisions.
It sounds
for
like
certain things.
Well, no, it sounds like that's what you find you have no respect for people that like that.
Well, there's respect.
Stay in those
the
boxes.
Pressure. I don't care about the box part, but the pressure part outside the box.
Well, that's when it becomes ridiculous. Like, that's when it becomes like it's easy to argue against those people.
It's like, oh, I'm afraid of buying things on the internet, so you shouldn't buy things on the internet.
Well, you're smart enough to realize. So, okay, I don't have respect for people that listen too much to the people that shout those from the rooftop.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is where I'm trying to say, like, I like Twitter for the open communication. I don't want to stifle. I want to hear the bad ideas. I want to know who's playing those Nazi games.
Yeah.
And just like, okay, well, that seems like a good enough reason. Like, I don't find it as devious as somebody else might make, like a Stephen A might want to make a fucking headline point out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I said, well, like don't hate the player, hate the game. He knows how to fucking get himself heard, right? And he doesn't care that I might not like it. He can just listen to like it or not. Like, this is what I'm saying. And it doesn't have a there's no like it's meaningless. It's just a comment, an idea. It's just, but these ideas can get out there and see, you make it bigger than it is. It's like, fuck, it's just one guy's idea. And I don't have to like it. It's just basketball when it comes to that. This Twitter thing is like, it's just like these boxes, they become, when it comes to political idea. Like I've said, like I could hate almost all these liberal ideas, but I don't have a kid in school. Like, I don't have to worry about how much money should be in education, right? I have parents that get sick in hospitals and they're like, holy shit, they're understaffed. It's like, yeah, of course, we've been trying to tell you they've been understaffed. We've been going on Twitter and trying to come and things, but most of the people just don't, it's come and goes. We don't respect that opinion until we come into their box a bit.
Yeah, until they experience it.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes, and you just start to realize it. Like, you see it. So it's a bit of both. Like, you want the hospital to be a little bit lenient on you. It's like, of course you didn't understand these ideas. But if you're coming in hot and like disrespecting them, then you're not going to get anything good back. Just like with Selena, if you're like saying all the fucking words, if you come in there and go, listen, like, I know you guys are busy. I'm a little confused. Like, the doctor hasn't been around. Like, when my mom would say, like, can I ask, can somebody give me like some information on this? And you say it in a way like that. They look at the concern. They don't want to be the person with their family member in there. And every time they give you a respectable answer. Or there is a solution to whatever you're kind of asking.
Yeah.
But you can't come in there hot and just like, I pay my taxes. This hospital's run like shit.
I need a doctor right now. There's
Fuck
nobody.
Trudeau.
Look at those guys sitting in the computer.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
Because they're not doing anything.
Yeah, and
right?
you just think they should be there to serve you. And then you watch a fucking ER show and you're like so sympathetic to George Clooney and like what he's going through.
And then you go to work and be like, oh man, I'm so tired. I'm working this whole time. I need a break. Like
you don't care.
Yeah.
Because you're so in your face.
Yeah.
And like so I said, but we're also in this point of in this point of time where the thought police, like being fucking like our ideas being challenged or something, or these fucking bubbles that happen on Twitter. Yeah. And like whose fault is it? Like, is it our fault for just like doing it like that, or is it Twitter's fault? Are they promoting like their own ideas? Like, is it like I think it's a good thing that we're all on one thing, but then that one thing becomes too powerful for itself. Yeah. And it gets to manipulate what we're all doing. And so you told me like Instagram is doing like a Threads to compete against Twitter. Yeah. And there's been other ones that have tried to come in. Yeah. Right. And people hate Elon Musk so much and whatever. And I get it. I don't want to defend it, but I almost want it to be what I think his ideal of it is, and a town hall for everybody. But I don't know. I don't know what gets promoted to me. I don't know. I rather the better idea of the Threads coming in and being a good. I don't even want to look at it as competition.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, but I don't want to look at it. So do I just condemn Mark Zuckerberg forever?
No.
Do I like laugh at him that he stole an idea from somebody else at Harvard and made it his own? Like all these, like not, you know what I mean? Like when he's at Congress trying to explain and he looks like an idiot, he doesn't know, like he's just a nerd. You know what I mean? Like, and was put in one of the most powerful positions because of our love of communication. Yeah. Because of like we don't like the dial up. We want like just more emojis, more everything, more faster, more people, more smaller world. And like he was just the one that fucking filled out the algorithm before we even knew what that was. Mm-hmm. And then it gets bastardized and then it gets. But does he have redemption? Is there redemption? Like, I'm not saying he's trying to make the world better with this Threads or something like that. But isn't the idea to make a better, less convoluted communication site? I don't know how you would even describe it.
If it was anybody else, I would take.
So you have no faith in that?
I have faith it will succeed.
Do you like Twitter as it is now, or don't like it?
I like Twitter.
Is it the best it can be? Like all the hate, like
there's a lot of things that could be improved, but I like Twitter. I just feel like the whole Threads thing is this is what they do. I don't think he's doing it to make the world better. I think he's doing it to make more money. He did the same thing with Instagram and TikToks and the stories and the reels and all these kind of things. He has this knack of imitating, and because you already have the fan base, you already have the user base, it's no problem. And I have Threads, So I have threads for the other podcast, and it looks exactly like Twitter.
So in my mind, I can easily mock it like you, but
And it's not that bad, actually.
so this is what I'm saying. Like I don't want to look. It's automatically looked at a competition against each other, and I look at it as a complementary piece.
It's not even. It's definitely competition.
But does it have to be?
Not for us.
But that's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are going to turn into what it is.
Yeah.
We're the ones. The next thumbs up emoji is going to come out of there. The next meme. That's why memes are so funny, because they're a step above emojis, right? Because first of all, you have to almost understand where it came from. It's almost like a cover song. Like, oh my God, you don't even know where that's from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Crying Jordan. Nobody knows where that's from originally.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, right? But it's such a like ubiquitous, you know what I mean? Like we all know it from other things.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not, but it's so that's a step up from a fucking emoji.
GIFs/GIFs.
GIFs. That's it. Then so we always can argue about it.
Yeah.
We can't even fucking agree on what it's called.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but I want more. I want a Threads to go and just say, hey, this is an idea I saw on Twitter. What are they talking about it on Threads? And it might be the same, like it's like how people are going to manipulate it.
True.
But it's just another way to verify something.
That is true.
I don't want to look at it, oh, this is going to be red, this is going to be blue. What's good about Twitter is that we're all there and we see all the bad ideas with the good ones. And I do think the system manipulates it, but then, you know what I mean? There is no Zuckerberg doing that system. He's just the fucking stupid face. Like it gets more fucked up in my head when we talk about like a Saudi, like a Middle Eastern thing or China, where they just cut it off completely and don't let the voice be heard for their own agenda. Sure, it makes bullet trains. Sure, it makes tall buildings, but do we really know how many people died making those trains and bullets?
Nope.
Like, would you have sent your son out there to fucking build that train for them? Would you give them their passport to fucking, you know what I mean? Like sleep in a dorm to build a soccer stadium?
Yeah.
Like, no, but that's so much above us. But at least that idea is out there. We kind of know about it.
And we can look into it if we want to.
Yes, exactly. And we just, whatever it is, but I don't want the idea stifled.
Yeah.
Like I want that, like that free speech thing. So it's not like I've looked at it. Like, again, I'm not reluctantly, but I'm being dragged because, you know what I mean? Like I could have just been a casual friend of yours and, you know, whatever, even get into it like a thumbs up emoji, things like that, but never have this conversation with a younger person, right? This is where you're dragging me in a bit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's when it comes to work, it's just like, yeah, well, do you like this place or not? Like, do you want to help me help this place better? It's like, oh, why are you being so earnest? It's like, why can't we just say fuck work? Like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, you stare at you know what I mean? You use all your fucking personal techniques to get your point across. When it comes on text, it's harder to do without your fucking gazing at the person.
Exactly.
Right?
But there is a gazing emoji.
That's so, but then to my stepdad, my dad, he's not going to know. He's just
like,
gonna
why you send me eyeballs?
Yeah, like what the fuck, right? I thought we were fucking having a conversation about F1 here.
Yeah.
Right? And just like, oh, he can probably smart enough to just assume that's these kids with their fucking emojis.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, and I pass it along. Like even like you said, like the reluctance of text. Like my parents, they had no choice but to get in on it. Right? Like, and it was almost like kicking and dragging, but it's just like the ironic thing is a funny thing you said with your mom, just like, oh, hey, this Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you could just mock it and laugh, but it's such an example that probably happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't get so invested in the fuck Trudeau. Even when it comes to Trump, you're more apt to give positive examples and instead of jumping on the negative train. If I was the type of person who was the fucking MAGA hat wearing, your thought process would be to tell you why I don't like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you were inundated with hate about this person.
Yeah.
So you don't want to fucking hear about it. There was another example I'm thinking about where it was just always hate and you're automatic. Black Mirror. I was fucking blown away that you said you don't like Black Mirror.
Yeah.
All right. And you one of the, I mean, not to put words in your mouth, but the part of it is it's always a dystopian fucking look at tech.
Yeah. Fear mongering.
You love tech and it's always like this bad side of tech. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, there's lots of good examples of shows that maybe show tech in a positive way. But almost everything about like The Expanse is a bad version of the future.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but you love it. You get involved in the soap opera of it all.
Because it also has good parts, good elements of like cooperation and like people getting through the struggle and stuff like that. So it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
You probably know this about me. I really shy away from negativity as much as I possibly
That's
can.
why I bring up Trump, because it's almost the most easy negative thing we can do.
Yeah.
But then the people that have your mindset, if they're on Twitter all day and they just like hate, they're wanting to fucking throw their hat in the ring and be more positive. And then they create a whole other bubble. And then they're just like, yeah, we're all American flag fucking like thing on our thing. And that means something.
Yeah.
You see a fucking Canadian flag on a hockey stick on the back of a fucking pickup truck here, you know that guy thinks fuck Trudeau.
Yeah.
It's not because we hate Canada or we don't believe in the country. It's just like, oh, that guy's a little bit too much on that bubble.
And that's the thing, like adding that negativity to, I mean, a flag is supposed to be a positive thing, right? That's why it's raised high and all this kind of crap. Like it's supposed to be a positive thing. I just don't, is like adding negativity to the whole thing. Did you see the basketball guy,
Victor?
No. On he's on TNT.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Really?
You. Yeah.
Fuck.
Charles Barkley interview about Skip Bayless. He was on All the Smoke podcast. That's the other two guys, Steven Jackson.
How long ago was this?
This was like yesterday or like 2 days ago.
No, I have no idea. I've been off Twitter.
So he had this interview and they were talking about Skip Bayless because, you know, Skip Bayless's show is going through a whole transition thing right now, right? And so they were talking about Skip Bayless and why he's so negative on LeBron James. And like everything he says about him is always negative. This is Charles Barkley talking. Everything he says about him is all negative. How can all negativity be, how can you say only negative things about one person? That's impossible. Especially somebody who is LeBron James. Like, he didn't do everything wrong. And so and that's my mentality. Like, if you only have negative things to say about this one thing, then you're not being honest. And I don't have time for the bullshit. That's just bullshit. You can have some negative things to say, and we were talking about leaning into things before the show. Like when you lean into something, just pure negativity all the time, never one positive thing to say, then you know you're not being honest.
And that's what we hate about people like that.
Exactly.
But those people, their voices seem to get more attention. Like even the fact of Skip Bayless is so listened to.
Yeah.
Because my example of Skip Bayless in this last week was was Pat McAfee ripping him on the ESPYs.
Yeah.
Right? And saying like, talking about the football player that died on the field, and in the immediate thing at the time, he's like, hey, can we get this injured player off the field? Maybe even knowing that he was dead, like dying on the field. And McAfee was fucking bringing it up, saying that he still hasn't taken that tweet down. That means what we hate about him, he feeds off of the negative attention.
Exactly.
And he relishes it.
Exactly why he can't be trusted. He's just an entertainer. He's doing it for different reasons. He's not being honest.
But you and I are looking at this example now, just like, how is this going to end for you?
Oh, bad.
Yes, but so why wouldn't he just come out and fucking apologize for it and be like asking for forgiveness for his thought process?
Skip Bayless is unapologetic.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's what we have no time for.
None, zero.
Nobody listening to this, listen to anybody that can't. It's one thing to do wrong, but to not apologize for it is the worst.
Especially when it's obvious.
And then we have like no respect if you keep doing things wrong. If you like make a hit wrong and you fucking like learn from your mistakes, then we have a step here. Right? You don't have to be like begging for forgiveness. That's a little too much.
Especially when you're hurting somebody.
That's the great example. That's the worst. Like that's where you can almost say an example of like, sure, I can make like just an innocent Polish joke, right? Because I think it's funny and I just throw Poland because it's random to me. But then if a Polish person was beside me hearing that, it's like, I wish I used Czech or something. You know what I mean? I could have used so many. It's just like, why did I have to bring anybody into it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't think of it. And then you see, you know what I mean? Like it's a random example, but it's like, you could be, it's just an innocent joke. Can't you take a joke? It's like, well, all your jokes fucking are about Polish people. And then you just become, hey, how much of this is on me? And you say, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have said that about you like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a growth thing, but part of it is like, oh, fuck you and you're woke. Like, this is where it becomes grander than a personal relationship. I don't know. But the fact that fuck your woke thought process. Like, I can like make jokes, like the world's better. This is why hazing has been in the fucking in the Twitterverse anyway, but like it's been out there, and hazing was an automatic process in my day. Mm-hmm. Like if you wanted to be in any club, like fucking a hockey team, you make the reps, they would shave your head. Like in the most innocent thing, it's it's not somebody abusing their power as a captain on the team.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just like a initiation to see if you can you know what I mean, like to earn your stripes to be part of this group that's an established group and you're just coming in.
Yeah.
So I kind of think there's room for it in a way that if you're on a football team and you're the rookie, like you got to carry bags for some other guys.
Yeah.
But then it came to a point where the rookies were coming in making a lot more money than the fucking established vets. And they're like, hey, rookie, like fucking Patrick Mahomes, like this before him, but hey, pick up my bag and take it to, hey, fuck you. It's like, no, you want to be part of the team? No, I'm starting. Like I'm a superstar from college.
Yeah.
This team needs me more than they need you. I'm not picking up your bag. And then the guy said, no, I had to pick up the bags when I was a rookie. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like you're a fool for doing that. And then that process goes like, it kind of phases out. But with hazing, it almost gives allowance for fucking deviance to like really
abuse,
dehumanize people. Like the examples that you see in the news or whatever, especially in this last story this week for Northwestern, like they add all the sexual fucking elements to it.
God damn.
They make these like do naked fucking stuff. You know what I mean? Like they make these rookies like strip naked and do fucking like all kinds of gay shit. And God, I'm late. Is this my massage? And so part of me is like thinking like, how are we going to build a good football team if we don't have this hazing process in there? We're not going to build good leaders if we don't make them go through this fake adversity.
Yeah.
But then it becomes way bigger than that. And then it becomes like abuse to people. And then it becomes like, this has been going on for 15 years and the coach could be the best coach in the, for our university ever. But he must have some knowledge of this. Mm-hmm. And he's going to, and even if he doesn't, the fact that he didn't have knowledge of it or do anything about it, he gets fired.
And did he get fired?
He got fired. It's like, so Northwestern, it was an old player, the best player they ever had. He's been their coach since 2006, and he's raised their whole athletic profile. Like their baseball team is better. Everything is better in this whole school. New facilities, all this stuff. And it's come out like for the past, whatever, like a little bit at a time, these stories of people that have felt like the captains have taken this hazing situation way above that it should be.
Yeah.
And then the journalists, like, so Northwestern ratted themselves out. Like the Northwestern paper, the journalist there, deep dive, went to older players, like other things, and it's like, yeah, this has been going on. This was, and cite the examples. And when you see it in text and print, it becomes indefensible.
Damn.
Like the guys just, whatever they say, like I said, I'm just butchering it, but they would just fucking, again, make them do all kinds of gay shit and dehumanizing stuff. And it also comes from universities where these like pledges for fraternities.
For fraternities.
This is the whole, nobody hates frat guy or nobody likes frat people.
No, did you get hazed going into grade 9?
No, so it was almost phased out by the time I did it.
Yeah.
Like you're younger, so did you?
No.
But that's an old school thought.
It was still like a thing. Oh, you're going to
Dazed and confused.
minor Niners.
Yeah.
And all this shit. And when I went to high school, there was none of that really. They're going to put you in a locker. I'm like, okay, buddy.
So in 1972, there was no recourse for the nerd that got put in the locker.
Yeah.
Right? The principal was like, well, fucking suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
And then by 82, it's just like, you know what? We're hearing too many examples.
Maybe that's not right.
Maybe that's it. By 92, it becomes a joke. Hey, they used to do that. Yeah. And I'll threaten you with it. Yeah. And then you could fucking make aware that I'm being threatened by it. And then you'll get called out. Mm. And then so... yeah, like it gets phased out. It was never should have been there in the first process. It gets too hard to defend.
Yeah,
right. And but part of our old school mentality is like, come on, it's not that bad. You know, you're gonna get to do it to somebody else. And then, but there's a different example of just stuffing somebody in the locker to making them run through the fucking like the whole locker room naked through whatever fucking examples they have.
Yeah,
right. Like fucking, it's just so gay and dehumanizing. Like
for
whatever,
sure.
Right? Like I even heard things of where they make you run around the track with like a marshmallow in your arm.
What?
And then they make you eat it afterwards.
What? That's disgusting.
I mean, fucking just Google
marshmallows.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat. It's only better after that. But that's what I'm saying. So you either go with the times and say, you know what, enough of is enough.
Yeah.
And that's an example. And we'll get more leaders. And I don't want my son to go through that. But there's some kind of example.
Yeah.
Like I guess the narrative is life is going to give you enough challenges anyway. We don't have to haze anybody at work to know if they're worthy or not.
No.
We're going to get all the examples that we can.
Oh yeah.
Right. And our one person that we were talking about, he makes so many mistakes and he oversteps his bounds so much, your guy on night. But when he recognizes it, it's almost the best. When he comes to you and says, you know what? I was thinking about that conversation we had months ago and I was out of line. I did see it wrong. I should never have said those words. That's all you can. That's the best fucking. That's his own hazing. He's gone through it himself. He's realized the error of his ways.
Yep.
And when somebody just keeps doing the same thing wrong and is insisting they're right, like that's again where the hate for Trump is justified.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do all these insightful things. Well, it wasn't my fault they charged the Capitol. Well, this example says you said go charge the Capitol.
Yeah,
I wasn't. You know what I mean? But you know,
I was joking. It was a thumbs up.
yeah. See, it's like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's. But I don't know. I don't think it'll ever get unmuddled.
No.
I think like when it comes to the insurance thing, the other, just like, trust you're doing the right thing and do it. And when it comes to the emojis thing, and just like, yeah, be conscious of what you're like
The times?
the times or the situation you're in,
Yeah.
and realize that you're not in your bubble. You're in the grander bubble now.
Exactly.
And yeah, like we agree. We don't think that grander bubble is. I think when we talk about like the directions or the narrative of stuff, it's always regarding a certain bubble. It's never that. You can cite examples of, that's why I bring up Trump for you. It's like, I'll bring you an example of why he's good for business against China. You know what I mean? Like nobody fucking takes that seriously, but the whole debate, I'm making this bigger than I wanted to, is that, oh yeah, but the news is pushing the only one agenda. Like, you know, it's because of the news that everybody hates Trump.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I might not be able to argue with you that. You know what I mean? Like that could be a point, but I'm not going to change it. Like we all have to find better news. Stop being in that bubble.
Exactly.
And that's why I like a Threads. Like it's part of me is hard. Like I don't want to toggle between, just to make it basic, 2 different sites to get information. But you have to toggle.
You have to.
You can't just sit in that one spot and go there. And I mean, yeah, we're not going to get to the bottom one now, I don't think.
No, I doubt it.
But you know, that's how a place, just to fucking blow it up now, is that the riots in France become such a like, wow, why are they so mad? It's like, yeah, I was like, somebody got shot. I get that, but there's so much underlying tension that goes with that is out of my knowledge or process. And like, how do I find out how the situation got so bad? Like, this is not I loved when you gave me homework and after that, but we can maybe talk about this a little bit next week.
Yeah, I'm down.
Because like there's so much going on and it's almost like a powder keg ready to go. And it's something that if it's happening there, it could happen here.
Okay.
Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. You let me know. But
yeah, we'll
and how much of it
talk about
is justified and how much of it is like the society staying in the same, like you can't have all these immigrants come here and treat them like second-class citizens.
So it's about immigration.
It could be. I don't know.
All right.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it next week, maybe.
Okay,
We'll solve the French riots next week.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we might not be able to talk about it next week.
We might not.
Oh, you're going to the beach.
I am. Well, we're going somewhere.
Well, you'll let us all know. We might miss. We're probably going to miss next week, people.
I'll
but
put a Twitter
finally,
picture
it's his fault, not mine.
I'll put a Twitter picture up or a Threads picture.
Both. Yeah, do we have to get a new Threads handle?
Should we?
Maybe. We'll bring that up again.
Okay.
We'll look into it.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to the Work Related podcast.
We are trying to make the Twitter at least somewhat enjoyable at Work Related, but we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.